Well, welcome back, everybody. If you missed the first show here with Dale, an expert, really gets into what it takes to be successful. Why, as a homeowner, you want somebody who is an expert doing this work for you, because it's something that has a big impact on your life. C&D General Contractors, Dale Nelson here, been in the industry now 16 years. We're going to go through some of the caveats to why this world has turned up so crazily, if you will, from a technology perspective. And what do you do with drones? And what software? How do you manage a job and all that kind of stuff? So welcome back to our second show here. Let's try to help our customers.
Yeah.
Dale really knows his stuff, so let's get into this a little bit. Tell me then, I love this question, though. We came up with this a while. I always want to ask this. How has technology changed the contractor business?
Oh, it's made it to where everything is different. You can, and from the insurance side to the homeowner side to the contractor side, I mean, an iPhone wasn't even a thing until 2007. Right. And it's kind of hard to even think about a time before everyone just had their iPhones and there's apps and things like that. But being able to be out in the field and be so transparent with homeowners where I can say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and jump up on your roof. I'll take a look for you, and I'll take a video. I'll take a picture. Here's a dozen pictures. Oh, you want me to email these to or text them to you or airdrop them to you? And then all of a sudden the homeowner has those pictures as if they were on the roof themselves. And I remember there were days where back in the Baldwin storm of 2012, there was a lot of homeowners who didn't even have printers in their house. And I'd have to get the paperwork and go down to Office Depot off Manchester and New Baldwin Road right there yep. and go print from the paperwork and then bring the paperwork back to them. So now there's an app where I take a picture. It's a PDF file, creates a PDF, and then I send that over to my office. We use another program where everything goes onto this program. It's a third program between my office and myself. So then all of a sudden I upload everything and it's streamlined and they got it. And then with like things like Xactimate. So Xactimate determines fair market pricing in your zip code. That's how they determine pricing with this. A lot of people think that I'm just going to come up with a random number, and I'm happy to go in and type in 32 squares in my Xactimate program. But there is a fair market value that insurance companies pay. There's a lot of things where I say a square of shingles is what they pay for is what I do. But a lot of times they're missing line items from there that we need to do on a homeowner's house, and they haven't put it on there to start, and then we need to get approval on that stuff.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot that goes into a claim because it's got to be all documented.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's got to be, now they've got everything down. It's a science, if you will, to nail down, this is how many squares, here's the materials, here's how much you need, here's the quantity, here's what's covered, here's what's not covered,
yep.
And everything that goes somewhere in between.
And then scheduling it all out.
And scheduling it all out.
Yep.
How do you make sure that a job gets done correctly? Software makes it a lot easier, but you also then have to be somebody who knows how to use all of that, I guess, to make this happen for clients too.
Yes, in order to keep as efficient as possible.
Okay. It sounds like you've kind of developed your own system too, a matter of how you get this set up. You talked about another third-party program you use or another way you've set up to get these things in order after you've gotten the pictures and everything you've put together.
Yep.
Developed your own system. Everything these days you talk about you have to be systematized.
Yep.
And you've developed that too, and that's part of being successful in running a business, I guess.
Exactly, 100%.
Okay. Cool. How did you come about setting up that system when you first got going? You realized.
I mean, the more you're out in the field, the more you realize, okay, communication is key. And I need to be able to communicate with homeowners or my office or the homeowners with me or my office or however it may be. And one of the biggest holdup a lot of times in communication, it falls back on the insurance company. And so it's one of those things where keeping that communication door open with the homeowners and with the insurance companies just streamline everything.
Yeah, because as a matter, and we talked about, I have my education is in communication, and we talked about how you feel like one of the things you bring to the table is communication is something you're good at. And I say that's the most important thing very often, because how often is a matter of everything's done to the extent that it's supposed to be done, but the communication was wrong, and that causes a problem. And now you've got the wrong shingles showing up or the wrong measurements were made, and you can't build a house like that. You can't reconstruct things, and communication is so important for that. And you've got to nail down a systemized process outside of what the pieces that come together from the different manufacturers and providers you use, and
outside of the insurance. You know, taking what the insurance company gives us and going, hey, thank you very much. I see what you came out and found, but here's what I came out and found. Okay. And here's the differences between the two of them. And, that, once again, just separates. I mean, it makes all the difference most of the time.
Well, very important, especially when you're talking about, again, somebody's putting together a house that they're getting repaired, and it's a $40,000 repair.
Yes.
And you miss $5,000 worth of.
Or if you're doing something outside of an insurance scope, if you're just doing something where a homeowner wants to remodel a bathroom or a basement or something like that, you got to be precise on your numbers and your measurements and your things like that. Otherwise, your numbers come back and all of a sudden you're trying to charge your homeowner additional money because you didn't, take into account all of the different things that needed to be accounted for. Gotcha. And that's kind of like what insurance companies do. They'll take, okay, thank you very much for paying for my 34 squares of shingle, but what about the ridge that goes on the top of my shingle? That's a different type of shingle than the rest of the house. So just little things like that, like I said, make a big difference.
I've heard the word, tell me, ridge vent. And these
exactly.
Roofs and attics have to be properly ventilated, or else that causes another series of problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good stuff. Well, tell me then, you've been doing it for such a long time. Can you give me an example of a time when you saw somebody who was really in a tough situation and you just kind of went out of your way to make a difference and help somebody?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I guess I reflect on a little bit would be the townhouses where they were denied by the insurance company and going, well, what the heck do we do? And met the insurance back out there. And like I said, every single townhouse that I said needed to be approved, we ended up getting approved. There was another time where I have a great relationship with my bank. I bank at Regions. So I have a great relationship with them. And there was one time I went in there and the guy's name was Ryan. And Ryan said to me, he goes, Dale, I got someone who came in and she asked me for a loan for a roof. And she needed to verify her bank statements. And he said, something just doesn't seem right because she said that she needed to verify for around $35,000. And he goes, she lives in Afton. And he's like, can you just call her or something like that and just go out there and meet this lady? And I was like, yeah, I'm happy to. And so he got me in contact and he told her, hey, I know someone. I've known him for years. Let me get in contact with you. And I went out there. This roof was, I think it ended up being like $98.50, almost a $10,000 roof. She was going to get charged $35,000. And it was from another contractor where they had excellent reviews, but they're going around charging someone 3.5 times, and she's an elderly lady. And we ended up doing her roof for $9,850 versus she was about to pay $35,000 with somebody else for the same product. So just being able to give you an honest opinion about your roof if it needs to be honest and like, yes, it does need to be replaced, or no, it doesn't need to be replaced, or whatever. But then outside of there, that wasn't even an insurance claim. That was just a lady who's like, it's time for me to pay for my roof. And she was going to pay 3 times the market value because the company had great reviews. So as great as that is sometimes with the great reviews, knowing your stuff and knowing that you're not going to be put in a situation like that where it's like, wait, I shouldn't have paid $35,000. I should have paid $10,000, because what a difference that is.
Yeah, and just truing up a quote that you got there when it was not. So you said, we're going to make this an honest quote.
100%.
Put together to make sure that somebody. My mom has been a teacher at Afton. I love mentioning this, but she's taught at Afton. She taught John Goodman drama back in high school.
Okay, yeah.
Back in the day. But I'm familiar with the neighborhood and the area, and the house. Many of the houses there are not tremendously large.
Yes.
A bit older part of the city.
It is.
And so
most of those houses are pretty close.
$35,000 roof. You've got a pretty good sized house there, and that's harder to find in that part of town. Nice houses, lovely little neighborhoods there, but wow, somebody current 3.5 times what they should have paid for that roof.
Yes.
And you came in and made the situation right.
Yep.
Good
Exactly.
stuff. All right, well, then tell me the process. Somebody says, Dale, I'm impressed. You do a great job, many years of experience. You've got it all together, family run and own business. How do I get started with you?
Well, you can always give us a call. I mean, our number's 314-862-2342 CDGC. And I have, a secretary in there. And then I'll come out, or one of my guys will come out, and we'll meet whatever you're concerned. I mean, I have people who call me, I have my roof leaking, and I just want to figure out what the roof leak is. I have a project I want to tackle. I have insurance that I want. I mean, whatever it is, I always tell people, we just kind of figure out if there's a way that we can do something, we will do it. And most of the time, there's a way that we can do it. So just give a call and set up an appointment, and we can come out and tackle pretty much anything that is you're setting your mind to.
Well, that's what we talk about. I use a quote from my mom this time, but that is, where there's a will, there's a way. The show must go on, right?
Yes.
And especially when you've got a house that's been damaged and you're trying to evaluate how often you're saying, well, I mean, I could patch that together and throw it together, and my brother-in-law can come out and make this look nice. But if you're not doing it right, then you end up tearing the whole thing down. You got to do it all over again. It costs you more. You want to have an expert come in there to make sure these things are done correctly.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds like you've got it nailed down. Well, give me a little bit more of the process then. As a matter of somebody's made a call to you, they say, I need you to come out.
So we'll come out and assess. Let's say it's for a hail claim. We'll come out and assess, go over all the different items that we are finding. And then what we'll have our homeowner do is get in contact with their insurance company. When the insurance company actually sets up the appointment to come out, you'll then notify me and say, hey, Dale, they're going to be out here Wednesday at 2 o'clock. I'll be sitting out in front of your house Wednesday at 2 o'clock, ready to actually go on the roof and do a full walk around the perimeter with the insurance company. Then at that point, they're going to release paperwork over. Once you get that paperwork, we get back together, go over that paperwork, and then at that point, we walk around the house again, because 9 times out of 10, probably even 10 times out of 10, it doesn't have everything on there that it should. I mean, it just doesn't. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. When you're dealing with such a large volume of, these insurance adjusters that come out, they're doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a day, and they're going back and looking at their pictures and trying to upload everything. It can get, to be a lot. So they miss out on a lot of things that end up adding up for my homeowners and making all the difference in the overall size of the claim. And then at that point, we kind of go over it, figure out, what needs to be, if there are supplements that need to be sent in. If not, choose colors, roofing, gutters, siding, things like that. And then from there, we get the shingles dropped. We get them dropped directly onto the house. So we'll have the supplier come, they put the shingles on there. And then as far as, I always like to say, we start from the roof down. So we'll get the roof knocked out, and then gutters, downspouts, siding work, fascia metals, things like that, depending on just kind of the order of operations. But we always start from the roof. We don't want to have, do brand new siding and then tear off a roof and have a piece of shingle come down and hit the siding or something like that. So definitely a method of the madness.
Sounds like you've got a system again for that too. When somebody's getting started with you, you make sure there is a process here. Here's the procedure of events to make sure that nothing's missed. Because if any one of those pieces that doesn't get put in place correctly, you've got a whole mess on your hands, and a homeowner who may not be happy because they're still leaking after it got repaired. That doesn't happen if you've got the system in place like it sounds like you've got.
Exactly, the system, and what also harps on too is quality products. At the end of the day, when we opened up in 2006, 2009, we used a product that we no longer use because it was made in Joplin. So we figured, hey, local product. We might as well use a local product, and it's going to be a great product. We found out the hard way it's not a great product. So then we switched our manufacturing up in 2009 to a different manufacturer, and we've been fortunate to go. I'm a GAF certified contractor.
Yeah, so GAF is on your website, and they do a great job and
Yep.
well known. And so, what do you like about GAF, and what do they do for you?
The thing I love about GAF, one, like I said, we switched to them in 2009, so I have a very familiar product and relationship with the Midwest Territory Manager of GAF. So not that we have issues often, but if there ever is anything that comes up, he's on top of it. In addition to that, GAF has been around since the 1800s. They're a 100% American-made company. The shingles in the St. Louis metropolitan area actually come from Michigan City, Indiana, and the pebbles on top of the shingles come from a quarry right here in Missouri. So they are American through and through, made in America, headquartered in America, and they make a fantastic product.
That's good. A buddy of mine that works there, Nick. I don't know if he's your rep or
Nick. Yeah,
and,
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, and Nick's a buddy of mine, and he's brought me down to the show they do down there at Union Station.
I just had lunch with Nick last week.
Okay, and it's great to have you get to know everybody a little bit. And St. Louis is a small community, but he's told me a little bit about GAF, and it's still a privately owned, a lady who has taken over ownership now from the family, I guess. She's part of the family, and still owns and runs the company. For going on along, they're in the family name for.
They started out as a film manufacturing company.
Okay.
It's granulated something film. That's what it started off as, and now they're a shingle manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll tell Nick I learned a little bit more about his company.
Yeah. Tell Nick, say, hey, I spoke with Dale. I've known Nick for years.
Right.
Years and years.
Well, that's cool. And Nick is a really good guy in the community too. He's in a band at El Scorcho. Those guys perform all over St. Louis and do a good job. So very cool. Well, let's keep it going here because now we're talking about some of the real community stuff that goes on there. And so, you got your A+ certification we've got up there. I'm gonna put this up there for everybody to see. Right underneath that GAF, if you look at the top right-hand corner of your screen there's that GAF certified, and just to be associated with such a high-quality group means you guys obviously have it put together too. So, all right, well, tell me that somebody's been in business as long as you have. Give me an example of a challenge you've had to overcome that kind of you learned from it, made you stronger, made you better, and it expounds upon some of that experience you've gained over the years.
Yeah, I mean, learning, I guess as far as overall challenges, the learning how to not take things personal sometimes.
Okay.
If you have a homeowner who ends up going with another contractor, don't harp on it so much. Right. just move on. It happens sometimes. So I mean, I always try and just keep such a positive, upbeat attitude on things. And like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So even with someone who ends up, choosing not to use C&D or something like that, it just like kind of breaks my heart a little bit. So that's been my biggest thing is not taking stuff in a personal way, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of great contractors out there. We're just one of them.
Well, you're doing a great job. You've got these high ratings, and take a look at the overall ratings that Dale's earned for his company. And when you got so much experience and so much you bring to the table and great examples of your work and been in St. Louis for so long, that's what we're really trying to share with everybody. So here's a model, an example for you that here's what you want to model yourself after, if you will. And using great resources. I love the fact that you're using my buddy Nick and GAF here in the St. Louis-based guys that making this happen for you too. So, well, tell me then, is there a particular quote that helps motivate you as you over the years you've kind of?
I always say to my guys that they're the famous quote of a picture's worth 1,000 words. A picture's worth $1,000. That's what a picture's worth.
Okay.
It's one of those things where in order to be able to send something into an insurance company and say, hey, here you go, this is the damage, you need to have the evidence and the proof to back what you're saying. And so it's one of those things where when I send in additional supplements and things like that, I make sure to have everything documented in an appropriate manner to where when the insurance company is reviewing or reflecting anything, they don't call me back and go, hey, well, I don't have this. It's like, yes, you do. It's right here. So it makes it nice and easy where I always say, picture's worth $1,000.
There you go.
Yep.
Picture. There you go. Take note of that one. Picture's worth 1,000 words, but it's also worth $1,000 because, and I would imagine you're probably taking 15 to 20 pictures at least.
Oh yeah,
$20,000.
I'll take anywhere between probably 20 and 150 pictures on any house. Wow. And then that's where I upload that into that program I use where my office has it, and then we send everything in, so it makes it nice and streamlined.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's got to be documented. And that's where we talked about how technology has affected and changed the business. But
yes,
get down to where you can see here is the actual damage on the house, and you can see these shingles do have, and we've proven this. Don't tell me that this is something that shouldn't be covered. You've documented all of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Very good. And that came out of our famous quote that we wanted to talk about to everybody. But picture's worth $1,000. Well, tell me, what's one major objection people often have when they say they're really serious about doing this, but they have a few more questions and they're like, I'm ready to do this, but what's that but usually?
I mean, the biggest thing is going to be just trying to, obviously a homeowner is going to do their due diligence and be trying to, look up anything that they can about companies and things like that. So honestly, that's why I always tell people, I can tell you how great I am all day long. I can't control what other people say about me. And that's where going online and doing some research on the company and the people that you're working with, it really makes all the difference. So the biggest objection, honestly, that I get is just, because a lot of the times that me or one of my guys has been in front of a homeowner, we honestly, it's going door to door, talking. After a storm, you get out and talk to people. If we try and call homeowners or something like that, they don't know who they're talking to. But if we can get in front of someone where you'll give me the time of day and let me have a minute or 2 minutes of your time to tell you why we are one of the leaders in the industry. A lot of times, once again, reflecting back to the experience thing, that experience takes over. And then all of a sudden, the homeowner, their objections are gone before they even start.
There you go. Yeah. And it's, how often is there something to be said for being face to face with somebody? You can look into somebody in the eyes and say, I can tell they're being sincere with me. They're being honest with me.
Exactly.
And unless they're a really good liar. And
they'd have to be really good.
And because it all ultimately comes out, because there's so many other steps that are involved with getting a claim processed and the interaction and all the things that have to be, all the boxes that have to be checked. It's going to be difficult to fake this thing. And so that's why you stick with companies who've been in business for a long time and have show the experience and got some great reviews. You can see I accidentally have positioned over Dale's shoulder there the A+ BBB. And so that's so important because it shows some integrity, some experience, and just great reviews that people have talked about. And check out that first show. We went over a lot of the reviews. They're all available on the BBB website there. I'll put that up for everybody to take one more look at, and you can just see some of these reviews. But this speaks well to a business who is established and doing a great job. And when you've got this kind of experience and this background, that's what we're all looking for, with somebody that can represent our show well, because we bring on guests and what I want to have explained to the consumers out there. Here's the things you need to worry about, but here's who you can trust.
Yes.
And if nothing else, learn from these guys, and you might have to use their services sometime, because they really, you go through a claim like we have, and how often is there something that goes on and people are like, oh, I wasn't damaged.
Yep.
That didn't affect me.
Yep.
And they didn't bother to look at it, and they come out later and they're like, oh, do you realize you had this kind of damage? And
or just, I can't tell you how many times people have been like, I didn't even see that. And it's like, well, of course you didn't see that. You don't look every day at storm-related damage like what a trained professional is going to be doing. And I mean, we'll catch the little things that most homeowners don't even think about.
Very important, again, because again, back to the experts. How do you get somebody who's an expert with the experience? Experience, those go together. And if you're not going to have somebody out there that knows what they're doing, then you're really putting at risk. This isn't like you're buying a box of Oreo cookies or something. I mean, this is something you really need to have, because it affects the longevity of the satisfaction and happiness of your family.
Yeah.
And where they lay their head every night. And so you want to make sure all of which is taken care of properly and professionally. Well, and tell me, what is it that gives you the most satisfaction for what you do? When you wake up every day, it keeps you going, obviously. You've been doing this for a while now. Why do you enjoy it so much?
I mean, the people. Honestly, I love meeting new people. I love being out, talking to people, helping them work through. For a lot of homeowners, a fresh storm is stressful. So I want to help alleviate some of that stress from you and go, okay, rather than trying to worry about hiring your roofer and your siding guy and your window guy and your gutter guy and your deck guy and, I don't even know a garage door person, that is where coming back and relieving that stress and going, hey, listen, all we have to do is get all this lined up from your insurance company, but I'll be the one that does that. I'll meet your insurance out. I'll line it up with your insurance company. I'll make sure everything is on the table, giving my homeowners the full power. I always say, imagine every single house as a pie. How you want to slice your pie is different than how your neighbor wants to slice their pie. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we got everything in that pie, and then we figure out how you want to slice your pie.
Right, because each individual home is very customized, even if you
Very.
have the cookie cutter home.
There's no, I mean, even on cutter homes, there's no two that are the same.
Right.
The siding on this one isn't the same on, as far as what the insurance paid as this one, with the gutters and the downspouts and the garage doors on this one, but not on this one. I mean, every single claim is different. So being able to navigate through and making it an easy transition from one thing into another thing. I just love doing it.
There you go. Do what you love, and the money will come. My dad used to always say, and we're just find a passion that you have, and somebody like I wish I had started a company myself at a young age like yourself, because now I think we say 32 years old, but still I've already done this for 16 years.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work. That's pretty exciting for somebody, and that kind of experience. There's a lot of people that get into a profession, they don't have that experience ever because they started too long out in their career, especially not owning their own company and everything you guys have put into doing this. So with that, I ask, what do you feel like you do to really contribute to the community? We talked about a few ways you do that, but times when people are in a tough situation, you help them. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, you always, come across people, I mean, just human nature where, obviously you're in business to make money, but you come across people who are in tough times. Like my mom, for example, she's dealing with a cancer. And so I'll have a special spot with people with cancer, medical bills, unemployed, elderly people. I stumble upon quite a few elder people who are very worried about being able to afford it. And so it's just one of those things where sometimes what we like to do is not on every job, obviously, but on some jobs do it more at a cost or maybe slightly below cost and help somebody who just needs help. So that's probably our biggest thing, and just, I mean, like I said earlier, we're doing the Lord's work out here. If my homeowner, depending on what they want to do on an insurance scope, they can never pay more than a deductible. But then at the same time, if they choose, they don't want to do their garage door, for example, well, they don't have to do that garage door. So just being able to have all of the power and all of the entire scope just kind of keeps on trickling down.
How often then, this brings up a question I haven't asked before, but do you have to interact with other contractors? Do you have a preferred garage door company you work with? Or?
Oh yeah. I just use Gateway Garage Door.
Okay.
Great company. I've been using them once again for years. And so once you have good help, you keep your good help. So it is, yeah. I mean, anything that's on a house from the roof to the gutters to the windows to the siding to concrete work and masonry work and things like that, and now even getting into more doing interior makeovers as well. Just kind of the sky's the limit.
Yeah, as a general contractor, you really are responsible for everything as the general overseer of a project. And I would I'll throw at you Renner Garage. They've been a sponsor of the show for a long time. RENNER, spelled forward and backward. Renner Garage does a great job, and we got their commercials airing on ABC. We just posted our latest version of that. But we always finish our commercials with Giddy Up. All right, as we finish up here, we've got just a few seconds left. Tell me, overall, this is your passion. You love this. How long do you foresee yourself doing this?
I mean, honestly, I see myself doing this until I decide to retire. I mean, I was fortunate enough where I never worked at McDonald's. I never went and worked at a retail spot like that, but this is customer service. So I work in a customer service oriented job, and I just absolutely, yes.
You'll love it.
I love it.
We appreciate it. Stay tuned for more, everybody. This is a great show.
Thank
Your
you.
Little Castle Show. Giddy Up.